Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to another edition of Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 11th day of May, 2020. Well, very cool. So, a 5 energy for the month, that represents change. It also represents protection, the pentagram, the balance between air, fire, water, and spirit. So May is just a wonderful month, at least numerologically. But today, being an 11 energy, we're looking at the master number for illumination. I had some illumination earlier that I'll tell you about when I'm done here with today's astrology that I had to actually say something to somebody about, but we'll talk about that. But here we are, awakening illumination in this 22-year, this cosmic builder year, another master number for soul level change and manifestation. I think that anytime we have numbers like this in a day, I think we can really take a hard look at things. We can allow soul or higher self to inform everything. But just know that synchronicities are going to come about, messages are going to come about. You're going to find out something today, maybe, or maybe become aware of some truth. Perhaps it'll be of an inner nature. Maybe it'll be external, something in the news, something in the community. But usually, when you're talking 11 energy, you're talking about something that's very profound, and it's awakening. So just pay attention to that today and see how it goes for this Monday. Anyway, what I always have something underneath the video here, links and whatnot. There's also a recipe for hand sanitizer and the bleach solution. I think I got that off. I don't know if I got that off FDA's website or what I got it off, but it was an official website that I got that off of. So I felt comfortable putting it up there just in case, we all usually have bleach, but sometimes we run out of spray cleaner, but you have it with your bleach. You just make a bleach solution and there you go. You run out of alcohol, you can always make a bleach solution. So, it's in the cleaners we use, so there's nothing wrong with using it. And it'll kill stuff. So that's what's important. The other thing I put under there, and I'm just going to leave it there for forever now. It's going to be an evergreen thing. It came to my attention. I started getting these pingbacks that whenever somebody posts my stuff somewhere else, I know about it. And anybody who runs a website knows when someone else does that. So in case people think that we don't know, well, we do. And if you were paying attention to your own, if you have WordPress, if you go with WordPress, then you have a dashboard that shows you all of that stuff, who's doing what. You'll get it. You get it emailed to you if you want. It's just there. And so I've discovered that there's somebody who is using my work on his website, and he's doing it without my permission. Now, you can say, well, because it's sort of one of those aggregate things where it seems like he's got some other people there too. But if you don't ask a writer or someone who publishes a blog, if you don't ask permission for that, as far as I'm concerned, and I don't know if this is legally true, but in my opinion anyway, and why I found it alarming was that it's theft of intellectual property. It could be copyright infringement. It could be any number of things. I don't know, but I know that you can't do it. That's what I know. I'm just not sure what the laws are that apply to it. But you can't do it. And so I wrote to him. I commented on my post. It wasn't the whole thing. It was just a clip version. But I found that they're on other sites as well, and I added a thing on the side panel of my blog. I added, I'm having it now. I put it in the ad inserter, so it's going to appear on everything I write at the beginning and at the end of everything, saying, please do not ever use my work on a website without contacting me first to find out if it's something I want there. How do you know I want my stuff on your site? Here's the other thing. I'm an affiliate marketer. So a lot of stuff has links in it. You can't do that. You're going to get yourself in all sorts of trouble doing that with an affiliate marketer site. You can't, and if you're running ads on your site, then you're using other people's work to gain income. And if you don't have a contract with those people to then either agree to provide them, to pay them for that, some compensation, or you have an arrangement where you don't need to compensate them, you have to get that in writing. You see, you have to have a contract with people. Otherwise, you're going to get yourself in a whole boatload of trouble. And I'm personally one that doesn't care, and I'll just do it. I'll go to an attorney. I'll do whatever I have to do. But the bottom line is this may seem like nothing to people, but the research that goes into just this particular video series that I'm doing, all of the research that I do all of the time on tarot and runes and numerology and astrology and all of this, I spend time with this and I don't get paid for it. My site has got ads running on it, but I don't make very much on it. Very few bloggers do, so we do what little we can. And then when we see our work pilfered onto someone else's website and they've not talked to us, oh my God. Have the courage. If you're going to have a blog, if you're going to have a website that talks about astrology or esoteric things or whatever it is, I don't care what it is, write your own copy. And if you're going to use other people's stuff, pay them. Ask permission. Don't just assume that you can populate your website with somebody else's stuff. Oh my God. So that's my thing for today. That was what I found out this weekend, and I sat and I stewed a bit and thought, well, how am I going to handle this? Do I just want to have an attorney write a letter and not talk to this person at all? Because, his response was, do you want me to stop? It's like, are you kidding? Yeah, you better stop. I mean, come on. You can't do that. You just can't do that. So now it's all over my website that you can't do that. I had it somewhere once before what my whole attitude was about this. If you want to quote me, that's fine. You can. You need to attribute it. And of course, that was all there on that website, but you just didn't ask permission, right? It's one thing if you quote a line from something, but even that you risk. If you do it out of say an online newspaper or something, online publication, they can come back on you. If you don't ask permission, they can come back on you. It's why if you quote somebody in any kind of book, you've got to attribute it. You have to use it in your, you have to footnote it, or you have to put a little number there to say, hey, go look somewhere else and see who this was. And a lot of people just do that at the bottom of each page so that you don't have to go find it anywhere. But then you have a bibliography or an annotation section, and you have to tell people, this was not mine. This was somebody else's. I'm using somebody else's work here. And whether or not you actually have to contact them first to put it in a book, I don't know. I would think that you would. So people who self-publish, you have to be very careful there. I'm very careful when I self-publish stuff like that. I go to the public domain and I don't have to worry about it. So I go with really old stuff if I'm going to quote somebody, but and then it's fine. It's in the public domain. And as long as you say it, I still have to say who it is. I just don't have to ask permission. So anyway, you think you wouldn't have to tell people this, but apparently you do. I don't know. They think, oh, you won't notice. Well, yeah, you do. You get a notification. There's no way you don't know. So please understand, if you're trying to take people's stuff, it's theft. If you haven't worked it out with that person, it's theft. Just know that. It's theft. Don't be a thief. Write your own stuff. Have some integrity. Jeez. I mean, isn't it bad enough we're dealing with what we're dealing with now with the guy in the Oval Office and all of his people? If we could all just maybe have a little bit of integrity with one another and set the example for others to follow, I don't know. Maybe. Moon's in the 7th house Capricorn right now. We're going to attend to financial matters, which I guess this qualifies, and focus on restructuring with a partner. Yeah, I mean, I left an email address underneath right where I wrote it, and about what I expect, to ask permission. Contact me. Just ask me. Talk to me about what you want to do. I get requests all the time about, do you want to come in and be a guest blogger, do something on my blog? It's like, no, I don't. I really don't. I'm sorry. I don't want to do that. So maybe, I suppose if I knew the person really well, if they were a friend or something, I might do it. But a stranger, no, I don't think I will. So it just feels funny to me. Now, other people might see this completely differently, and that's okay. But where I'm concerned, this is how I see it. So I'm just asking to be respected on this. And I will continue to respect everyone else. You see? That's how this works, right? Again, Sun 11th house Taurus, still reflecting on foundational or structural concerns, as well as reassessing goals with friends. So here we are together reassessing my goals. So anyway, Sun sextile Neptune, intuition strong today. So pay attention again with this 11 and 22 energy in effect today. It's really important. Mercury square Mars, time for honest and decisive expression today, but avoid conflict and don't be telling other people what to do. Kind of stay out of their business unless they ask for it. This is going to be a time where it's not going to be, if you kind of push your ideas off on somebody or too assertive with people, it might not be well received today. But it's just the energy of the day, But still, nobody likes to be told what to do. As I'm telling everybody what to do with my work. Venus semi-square Uranus. Relationships are in flux right now. They could be tense. So go with the flow. Square Neptune, situations and people could be confusing right now. And so keep an open mind, use your intuition, go with your hunches. If it seems like, I don't want to talk to this person right now, they're not in a good place, then just respect that and give them their space. And, when they're ready, just let them know, hey, I need to talk to you about something, but just let me know when you got time, that kind of thing. That way you put it in their head that, hey, somebody wants to talk to them, but, you're respecting their space. And that just, I can't tell you how important that is. It's we all know it, but I know that especially moms know how their time is just always impinged upon. When I worked at this one place where I had a person in the office who, I didn't work for her. She wasn't my supervisor. The executive director was. I worked for her. But this one, they could task me with things. That was fine. But, when I'm on my break, don't come near me unless you want to come and say hi and visit and have a cup of coffee, right, or a cup of tea. But she used to come during my lunch hour into the break room and assign me things. It's like, no. No. Very inappropriate. So it's that kind of stuff. Let's see. Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto are still in the 8th house, same place they were. So joint endeavors are still at issue. Obviously, we're home, and if we are still home with one another, some businesses are opening. I'm hoping they do it safely and that everybody concerned is in masks and gloves, but we know that that's not going to happen. And we know what is going to happen. So, here's the thing. In a pandemic, you put humanity first. You do it right away. You don't stay in denial. You don't wait. Okay. They knew in 2019 this was coming. They knew. They could have had everything in place. And when it was time to start locking down, probably the 1st of February, that's when they should have done it. If we had all been together on this in masks and gloves, we could have, gotten this to where it was either entirely manageable, or if that's even possible with a new virus, I don't even know that it is, but we may have been able to get on the other side of it much more quickly. But instead, we know what they did, and here we are. So I just think that at this juncture, we cannot stop staying the course on this, or whatever ground we've gained is just going to be gone. So, but everything is the same as it was last week, so I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time on that. Just know that, we're in a time of awakening and restructuring our perceptions about what we think about things and what we think about one another. This should have been a time where we were all coming together to stop this in its tracks, but we didn't. And we all know what that's looking like right now. So, you know, if you think like I do, please just continue to stay safe. Continue, if you have to go out to the grocery store, go out in a mask, wear gloves, spray everything down. You know, just continue to take the precautions that you know that you need to take. And don't be persuaded or intimidated by other people who aren't doing so. And you know, you may end up voting with your dollars, going to stores where the personnel are wearing masks and gloves and not going to the ones that aren't. That's kind of where I'm at now. I've about had enough of what I'm seeing around our area here. So let's go ahead, though, and let's take a look at the cards for today. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm sorry for the little discussion at the beginning, but I just don't know what else to do. I have to say something. Otherwise, you know, if I had to take action against somebody, you know, a judge is going to say, well, what did you do about it? Well, this is what I'm doing about it. So I'm going to document everything I say and do. And in case I need to, you know, do something later. I don't know. I'm sure I won't have to. I'm sure everybody's going to get the picture here. And just understand, we're kind of all in the same place here. If you don't want somebody stealing from you, don't steal from anyone else. Because I'm going to tell you, first time it happens to you, this happened to me before. First time this happens to you, it's like a gut punch. It's like somebody comes in your house when you're not there and starts looking through your things. That's how it feels. So anyway, let's go ahead and take our first 3 cards, and then we'll look at a rune, and then we'll close out with a geomancy rune. So again, if it's your first time here, I take the 13th card each time for randomness sake. Normally in readings I don't. I just lay cards out after I shuffle. But I don't want to have any influence of my own in it, so I just want to be as random as I can for this. Anyway, this is the 10 of Pentacles. I love this card. They're socially distancing from their father or grandfather at a distance. You can see they're on the other side of that archway, so we've got 6-foot distance there as they come to visit Grandpa. I love that card, though. It's really about legacy and about family and transition. You know, where we understand and appreciate those who came before us and what they're doing for us now, and I don't know. It's like I saw this thing where, you know, the guys in their 90s were at the World War II memorial. And of course, you know, what's his name was there without a mask. And he just thinks it's fine because the wind's blowing, right? They're in their 90s. They're beautiful. They're perfect. They're pure. They're pure. Yeah, they're pure. They'll never get this. And then his new press secretary says, well, they knew what they were getting into. Well, I don't know. I don't know if they did or they didn't. I don't know what anybody knows anymore. But you know, these people, they fought for us. They bled for us. They died for us. Can't you wear a mask around them? They're in their 90s. Can't you do it for them? Apparently not. My husband's a veteran. This just incenses him to no end. Oh my God, you can't imagine. Sometimes he'll come out of the room. He watches things that I don't watch anymore because I can't. And he'll come out of the room and he'll just pace and he'll grumble and he'll say unholy things and then he'll go back and he'll watch some more. And it's like, well, honey, I'm glad you're taking one from the team here, but because I sure can't do it. Anyway. We have the Lovers, the 6th card of the Major Arcana. We've been getting a lot of these, a lot of major cards in these readings. Very rare when we don't get at least one. Very normal to get at least 2. So if you come back to and watch this, and I hope you do, you're going to find that there's going to be a lot of soul level influence in these readings. And that's how I view the major cards. They're the soul archetypes that are these issues that really are the overarching issues of our lives. And then the smaller cards, you know, it's all about the details, basically, just to fine tune things, basically. So let's see if we get another one. We did. The emperor. Well, okay, so this is going to be about authority and the issues with authority here. And the effect that that has on our lives. You know, the emperor is the fourth card. And so four is about structure, the material side of life, physical side of life, all of that, you know, material form, basically. It can also indicate the human being itself, right? So, but you know, you think emperor in a patriarchal world, that the emperor is the anchor of our lives. Well, we know that that's not true. We know that the issues with patriarchy and the pitfalls with it and the abuse of it and the oppression of it. And so consequently, you know, we have to find a different balance. You know, originally here on this planet, it was goddess centered. It was equality centered. Women and men had different things that they did, but there wasn't, if there was a reverence for one or the other, it was for the woman because she brought life. All right. She represented the goddess and therefore all of creation. And so she was to be revered. She was to be protected. But look where we are now. That's not happening at all, especially right today. No one is being protected in this country unless we protect ourselves. And so depending on, you see what I'm saying? So anyway, we have what we have today. If we're going to talk, and we're going to have, we'll put the 10 in the middle. We'll call the 10 our significator or our focal point. So let's talk about this one. The 10, it reduces to 1, and so we're talking new beginnings. We have an archway into new experiences. The younger couple, along with the young one there, they're on the other side of the archway, suggesting a transition from the older influence to something new. You can think of it as moving from the past to something new. One period ends and another begins. And it's not to say that this man is on his deathbed or anything, but you can see his abundance around him and his legacy. You see the pentacles arranged in the tree of life, the Kabbalistic tree of life. So you can understand what's really happening here. We're looking at an entire generational type of familial type of expression here. And you can think of this just in terms of the family and what we owe one another, basically. You know, it's just like what the person was remarking upon. It's like, you know, can't you wear a mask around soldiers that were, you know, veterans that are in their 90s? That did so much for us? Can't you protect them? Does your ego have to be so important that you can't think about another person and their safety? You know, because it's affecting children now. So come on, you know, we can't take the attitude that we've taken. If we wish to preserve legacy, if we wish to preserve tradition, if we wish to preserve life. This expresses the continuation of life, the continuation of family. We can't do that if we can't respect what's going on right now. Because a lot of people are losing, a lot of people. We're not talking just one person in a family. We're talking people that are losing multiple family members through this. So this is going to create profound change, you know, just by virtue of that. If it's the one who is the person who brings in the income, well, you know, it's really changed everything. You see people going to nursing homes where grandma is or mom is, and they had Mother's Day outside their windows. For those of you who couldn't be bothered to even contact your mother, well, what's wrong with you? I mean, my God, what's wrong with you? During a time like this, and you can't even call your mom? Jeez. So when we look at the lovers, we see the angel above, we see the sun brilliantly lighting the angel's way and infusing its rays onto creation. You see him the abundance there of the tree of life in back of Eve, and the oak tree denoting strength, again a very patriarchal card, of the oak tree behind Adam. We see the snake coiled around the apple tree behind Eve, the tree of knowledge, because of course women ruin everything, right? Yeah, no. The reason why Eve was given, the reason why the woman was given so much information is because the woman was closer to spirit, evidently. The man was likely, whatever they created at the time, perhaps was just a little too instinct oriented and couldn't see the bigger picture of things, whereas the woman did. Because again, the woman is the one having the children. The woman is the one worried about the family and the home and hearth and making sure everything is there, right? So that everybody is taken care of. All right, that's what that was about. And it wasn't that the serpent was the devil coming in. No, it was just whoever was creating us, giving the woman the information that the man could not take in. And that's why we have a problem when we see this guy pop up. Because without the balance of the Empress, the Emperor doesn't know what to do. The Emperor cannot self-correct. The Emperor cannot self-regulate. The authority that could be beneficial becomes self-oriented and self-dealing. The balance within him is in other words, whether or not you're looking at the Emperor or whether or not you're looking at the King and the court cards, without the balance of the Queen or the Empress, the inner focus is lost. That's why she's there. It's to provide that receptive presence, to calm things down, to align things in spirit. Without it, the Emperor is rudderless. So here with the Lovers, we're going to want to balance polarity within, polarity without. And whereas there's growth on the side of the man, there's abundance on the side of the woman. And that isn't because she compromised anything. It's that she turned her focus. You can see she's turning her focus to spirit. She's looking upward, isn't she? Where's the man looking? At her. See? That's what I mean. They look to us for guidance and then they don't take it. I don't know. Sometimes they do. But it's like a mother-child relationship forever. I don't know. Struggle against the woman all the time. View her as the bad person, just because she speaks truth to power. The reason she does that is because she knows what it is and she can understand the bigger picture. But you see, her focus is on spirit, and she has the strength of abundance and knowledge and all of that behind her. Whereas he's still trying to leaf out that tree, isn't he? 6 is about shared purpose. It's about shared direction. It's about, I love the one, the 6 of Pentacles, because you see the guy of means. There's a couple of people down below him, and he's got the scales in one hand, and he's got money that he's giving. He's sharing his shared abundance. Excuse me. It's understanding. Juniper pollen is nutty outside. It's making me crazy. But so it's no, it's not the virus. It's the allergies. But anyway, it's interesting because when you understand that you've got your own little structure with the 4, all right, and depending on what that looks like, it might just be your own, and you don't let anybody else into it, right? And you want to control that. You want to control everything about it. And if anyone else is in your family or whatever, you're the person who's doing all the controlling, and that never feels very good. Once you get to the 6, though, you're looking at a different type of vision. You're able to see that there are other people that have needs, and if you can help with that, then you naturally want to do that. So at that point, we're saying that higher self is coming in and informing your perceptions a whole lot more than maybe when you're trying to establish your structure and authority and all of that of your life. But we'll get to him. So then when we get to, the 8, you're looking at an even bigger, collective type of a harmony where you're aware of the greater consciousness of everything. So you can see a progression in the even numbers toward greater levels of harmony and unity and awareness of self and others and the egalitarian nature of life, basically. The odd numbers are a little more, friction oriented, stimulative, change oriented, more of an active presence versus a receptive presence. So, but when we do, so here we have a 6 then with the lovers, and then we're going to go, we could actually put the 4 first if we want to. It doesn't really matter, because we're using them as the information to inform the ability to do this in a way that's successful and respects the past and, with integrity as we move on into the future, right? If you do that in balance, self and others, seeing, understanding the projective and receptive or masculine and feminine emphasis is not gender when we talk polarity. It's energy, right? And it's how it's like my husband has a projective aura. He's a Sagittarian. He has a projective aura, so it's a push energy. And I have an enveloping aura. I'm a Libra. I have an enveloping aura, and so. Part of it too is that if you are familiar with a system called human design, and I use that in the esoteric, the weekly esoteric influences I do on the blog. You go down to the bottom of it. The biggest part of this is human design, and I think it's fascinating. But they break everybody into different types. He's a manifester. I'm a generator, and so I naturally, as a generator, have an enveloping aura, a receptive aura. So and also an empath. So not just a wish, but an empath. And so when he stands above me and he's ranting about one thing or another, not about me or anything, just if he's been watching the news, right? And I'm sitting in my chair, he'll be above me and he'll lean in. Even if he doesn't lean in, his energy leans in and I'm like this. Because it's hitting me like when you open an oven and the heat hits you and you got to stand back. You're like, whoa, I got to get back. That's what it's like. Okay, energetically, that's what it's like. So anyway, I digressed there. Sorry about that. But again, it's the idea of polarity isn't necessarily, it's not about, well, not at all about being a man or a woman, and how it's whether or not we have some sort of balance within in terms of active or passive energies, initiative versus receptive energies. If we are too much out of balance, maybe we're too receptive and we don't stand up for ourselves. If we're too assertive, maybe we become aggressive and we get in people's faces when we shouldn't. And so that person needs a little more receptive energy, needs a little bit different balance in that regard. So that's kind of what we're talking about here. And if you can't get that in balance, you cannot be a leader because it's going to go awry. This guy doesn't actually look you in the eye. He's looking a little bit off to his right, just slightly. His eyes are slightly askew. I had to get my magnifying glass out, the one that's got the LED lights on it. This mammoth that my husband bought me. Oh God, I love this thing. But I had to actually get my deal out to really see. Actually, I'm sorry about that. It's not, it's to his, it's to my right, his left. That's what it is. And in a way, it almost looks like that he's got one eye going one way and the other eye going the other way, but I think it's just the way they have it shaded. But he's holding a sun disk in his left hand. It's the power of receptive presence, and he doesn't understand it. But his eye is averted toward it. But the impression I get from it, it's like the little boy that's lying with his fingers crossed behind his back. He wants to be able to balance all of that, but he's not going to actually look you in the eye. So if he's looking toward the left, that you might interpret that as being a little bit deceptive. It's like, well, I'm going to do some things and maybe nobody will notice. I'll give the appearance of this or that, but in fact, I'm this, So that's really what we've got here. So let's see. 6 and 4 is 10. and then 10 is 20, so that's 2. So again, balance. If we were to look at the 11 today, which we won't, as a 2 energy, we won't do that. But you're talking about illuminated balance, all right? Balance between spirit and form. So have source inform what goes on today for you. Have source inform your perceptions. Have higher self. You know, you're going to know if you're on the right track or you're not about something. And I just think that assume that when an emperor is in play, so are gamesmanship. The current one we have is very adept at describing a situation as rosy when it's not. We're everything is great as people are dropping like flies. It really is that extreme of a dichotomy that goes on right now. And so it's like don't believe what you see. And he said it before in the beginning, believe only what I say, don't believe what you see or read. Because the only truth is with him when in fact it's the biggest lie of all. And anybody that follows him, it's like following off a cliff. So there you go. For our legacy to continue, we have to come to a different balance within and with one another. And we have to decide where our authority really lies. Does it lie with someone who is self-dealing and self-motivated and can't tell the truth to anybody to save his soul? Or does it lie with all of us where we can come together collectively and get on the same page so that we can get through it? Just do that. We get through it. I don't know. Don't fight it anymore. Uruz is the rune for today, the second rune of the Elder Futhark. And this is soul manifesting force, and it's going to align well with both the 11 and the 22 energy. We're talking the manifesting force behind it. It's the force behind the force. We'll say it that way. So the force behind the manifestation. So where are you getting your inspiration? What is guiding you? Is it spirit or is it ego? All right. What is the force behind your own manifestation? All right, that's basically where it is. You can see the polarity aspect with the 2 legs. This represents the aurochs, or a big bull, a big cow that used to be in hundreds of years ago. They were much bigger, a lot of them. But I don't know. What do we want to manifest? We're in a 22 year. What are we going to manifest? Are we going to manifest something that's going to get us through this? Or are we going to manifest something that won't? And I mean, to me, that's the real issue here. The more people that don't socially distance or don't self-isolate, wear masks, gloves, whatever, I don't know. The longer it's going to take, and the more people are going to get sick and worse. They could die. And is that really what we want? How do we preserve this if we aren't willing to do what it takes to make that happen? We're in a weird time right now where we don't understand what's going on. And, we're at a time of new beginnings. This is Caput Draconis. It's one of the 2, this is Kata. This represents the north node of the moon. So our future is very much on our minds right now. And what are we going to do to manifest that new future? If we've reached a point climate-wise where these kinds of things are going to happen, where as the permafrost melts, more things that have been buried forever come alive, maybe. They're warning about that. And this just may be something that's gotten to the point where we can't stop it now. But the point is that we may have a different way of doing things going forward, where we're not so close together, where we're not having packed restaurants or packed stadiums or packed airplanes, or we may start to rethink how we contain ourselves within smaller spaces with a whole bunch of people, right? These things may need to change. Maybe not. Maybe it can all go back to normal. Maybe this is just an interlude. But I guess what I'm trying to say is we don't know. And until we do, then I would suggest that we all remain safe and keep one another safe. And for businesses that aren't putting masks and gloves on their people that interact with the public and just interact with one another, if you're not going to do that, then don't open. Be safe. Just be safe. Whether you think this is, some plot or not, it doesn't matter. It's here and we need to deal with it. It's not a hoax. I don't care what he said. It is not a hoax. So we're here to get through it together. And how we manifest that is going to determine whether and how successful we are, So again, today, pay attention to the synchronicities that may come along, any messages that seem to be, that sort of catch your eye, where you're like, what? Where you're doing a double take. New information could come out today that is positive, that's helpful to all of us in getting through this. So pay attention to that. And, stay as connected to people as you possibly can. If you didn't call your mother on, or your grandmother or whoever on whoever was your mother figure in your life on Mother's Day, then call them up today. Tell them you love them. Tell them you're sorry that you just got busy and you're sorry, but that you love them and next year you'll do better. So anyway, thanks so much for coming by. And again, I'm sorry for the little discussion at the beginning of it, but this happened this weekend and I dealt with it and I hope that I've dealt with it. I hope, it's just disheartening. It's upsetting. It's my stuff. So anyway, thanks again for coming by. Check out the blog over at Stepping Aside at imsteppingaside.com. There's, of course, a link below the video. And this and the correspondences and astrological information for today, if you work magic, you can just check at that and as a cheat sheet, if you will, for the kinds of things you can use to shore up your magic. That'll go up also as well. And come back tomorrow. We'll chat again. Be good to yourself. Be good to one another. And blessed be.